Wow. All right. I welcome everyone. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, again, welcome everyone again. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ballroom.
Here.
Mr. Blanton.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here. Need a motion for the acceptance of the minutes for March 20th, 2024, the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Mr. Ballroom.
Yes.
Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Also, a motion of acceptance of the minutes of April 3rd, 2024, the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Make a motion to accept the minutes for April 3rd.
I will second.
Mr. Ballroom.
Yes.
Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Motion of acceptance of the invoices. Make a motion to accept the invoices.
I will second.
Mr. Ballroom.
Yes.
Mr. Blanton.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
All right, so we're going straight to Miranda, so we're starting with Sharon. Straight to Miranda.
I would say we should probably let the sheriff do this, just in case he gets called away
All right, LT.
for urgent business enough.
Good evening, Lieutenant McElroy with the Sheriff's Department. Statistics for March for Miami Township. In March, we had 308 runs. 216 of those were dispatch details. 92 of those were self-initiated or non-billable details. Service exchange, 107 times Miami Township cars were requested outside of Miami Township. That's it. 90 times they went, 7 times they were disregarded before they were actually out there. The same month, 132 times county cars were requested into Miami Township, that's just Miami Township. 80 times they sent, 52 times they were disregarded. During the month, we took 9 criminal reports, 15 non-criminal reports, and 7 auto accident reports. Anybody have any questions? All right, any questions for the lieutenant? Any questions for the board?
I'm not liking the contract with you, but are we, we're still assisting Addison, correct?
So, yes, will be the short answer to that. I can tell you, myself, my captain, my major, tried to meet with them officially several times. Last time I had a conversation with my major, he got on the phone with the chief to get a more official response from that. So it is, once they came to a head, some bone confidence that it is only to the truth.
Yes. Thank you.
So you don't have to go into detail, but just a brief description. I was reading a little bit about the flock cameras. Yes. Can you talk a little bit about that? So flock cameras are, sorry, go ahead and speak. So flock cameras are, I don't know if anybody's familiar with license plate reader cameras. They're a version of that. They're stationary. We use them. So let's say a busy intersection, camera would be placed there. It's powered solar, and it catches license plates going one direction. Right? It catches anything going by, especially what it is going to catch is vehicles that are stolen, report stolen, vehicles that have a wanted person attached to them. It could be found, it could be misdemeanor. These cameras in particular, if we search, they help aid in investigations. Let's say a crime happened. Let's say it's just a burglary down the street. Car that passed by. Somebody saw a green town car. You can search by green town car, and you can bring up anything that went by that camera within that time period. The county purchased several of them and placed them around the county and townships. Anderson, Cindy, and Sycamore, or just Sycamore had bought them. They're also
options to buy them if you're a private business to get traffic going in and out. Schools have done that, some businesses have done that. One more thing there.
No, that's fine. I just wanted a brief description because I've been reading about it and talked to a few people about it. I just wanted to just hear about it a little bit from
If you're
you.
more interested, I could set up a meeting with Bob, if they're interested in.
I would like to hear what you do.
I would, and, you know, you guys presented about the presentation over there. I thought it was interesting there. I know we had a couple of in our township, but I'd like to hear whether you think that it would be beneficial. And if there are spots particularly that you think would be good, we can have that conversation later.
I can tell you, I can go.
Yes.
I hear our officers are very busy on the clock, the cameras, they get hits, they run down, especially stolen vehicles. It's a very good item for that. And this system hooks in, it's possible to hook into other systems. So it's stolen from our township. Clock cameras we have throughout the county and other agencies put them in, they're all linked up together so that they can work as a work.
So what do you think? You know, so if we could get more information.
I'll, with Mr. Brett, we'll do that, so.
Sounds good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brett. Insurance report. You want to?
Yeah, we could, I promised, the folks at Miranda Homes that we would, pull them up as far as we could on the agenda so they could be here. The gentleman who, gosh, Craig Russo is his name, and I believe he's the president or vice president. He couldn't be here tonight, but he does have his engineer here. But we could go over a little bit about what they're doing. I have the slide decks from, the presentation from,
I'm sorry, sir. Do you want to address the board first or go through the slideshow?
Try to get a brief overview there.
Sure. That's great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Gessman. I'm with the Choice One Engineering. We've been hired by Miranda Homes to go through the PUD process through Hamilton County to get an overlay PUD zoning over top of the existing zoning. With that, we're currently, this new development will be just to the west of Durango Hill, or Durango Drive. This development will consist of 50 lots, averaging from the minimum standard set by Hamilton County that are 61 feet wide, approximately 120, with 5-foot side yard setbacks, 25 rear and front yard setbacks. With the PUD process, there is going to be a requirement of open space, where around the majority of the property, there's going to be approximately 54% open space of the 23.95 acres. We're going to have these two connection points. One is our main entrance off of Bridgetown to the north, with the secondary entrance point off of Durango Ridge. We recently got an approval letter from ODOT not requiring any kind of right or left turn lanes into the development. And I'm sure most of you are probably here because of this, because Hamilton County will contact you if you live within 200 feet of the development itself. So if you want to kind of show some slides, they'll be. So yeah, you can see in red here, this is what the overall development is. That's the 23.95 acres. But they give connection point to the north and connection point to the east there, up Durango Ridge. So you can kind of see the lighter shade of green is the all lots. Then the darker shade is going to be all open space, where we have to the northwest there, we have a little detention basin for the majority of those northern lots, and to the south, we have a detention basin for the remainder. A couple of questions that came up during the public meeting with Hamilton County was drainage, and some concerns by the residents to the east of the development. All down, based off MSD's requirement, all downspouts for the most part will be being routed towards the storm structure, the storm sewer system proposed. There is kind of a list of priorities to determine things that are not required for us to collect based off elevation and where they would go into existing drainage swale. But you can actually do it on the previous slide. So the first month to the east, going up to Durango, and 4 or 5 to the south of that will all be collected through the storm sewer system. And then as either by rear yard drainage swales that inlets, back to collect that runoff. Or the lots will be direct drainage from rear to front to the street that would be collected. And to the west, based off topography, there are going to be some walkouts that will be going to the existing drainage swale to the west. But the majority of the lots on this development will be collected and routed through our storm sewer system and put into our detention lease.
So I can't solve like that, but I'm interested in 50, 49, 48, 47. That was very long. So are you suggesting they're on the west side? So did you say that they will be collected?
The northeast, sorry.
Northwest.
Yeah, all the ones to the northwest will be all ranging from the front of the yard to the rear of the yard to the front. So all that will be collected and pushed toward the street. Either by direct drainage, or we'll have rear yard swales that would have inlets in the rear yards to collect that and then route it through our storage. So no drainage would not go onto your property whatsoever. Another concern was the possibility of majority of the people that to the north here are on septic systems. And they were thinking that they might have to be connected just because we're providing a new sewer stuff or sewer extension. I talked to Robert Kirk. Yeah, sorry, Ron Kern, supervisor at MSD. He handles all the lateral connections. Due to the fact that our new sewer extension does not contact any property outside of our development, they will not require you to have any connection to our storm or sewers. The only time that would ever happen if there's a public extension where the sewer would actually come in contact with your property itself. I'm open to any questions if you have any here.
If I can just give you a couple things that people contacted me.
Sure.
With, as you mentioned, the side yard setback is 5 foot, and a lot of people were concerned about that.
Yeah.
But the neighbors in Durango Green were especially concerned about the rear setback. They felt like that was going to put the homes pretty close to their property line. So, and I believe it is within the limits, but
Yeah. So everything we're based off of just standards that Hamilton County has put out there. So not that we're not, even though it's 25 feet, more than likely the houses won't be built to that far. It's just basically just a overall restriction in terms of what the type of house can go in there. And again, 5 yard setback is on each side. More than likely the houses won't go that far anyway.
so in the width of the street itself, I couldn't judge that off. But
Yeah, so with Hamilton County, their PUD typical section is 40 feet of right of way. With around the right of way, it goes another 25 feet each direction for setbacks. And then there's going to be sidewalks on both sides, 10-foot utility easement outside the 10 or the 40-foot right of way. It's a little narrower than the 50-foot that you would typically see in most developments that are going through the PUD process. But due to that restriction, during that process, they just got to have a smaller street section set out for that kind of development.
okay, one of the questions that some folks asked me was, will the fire department be reviewing this? And I said during the construction plan, not during the zoning portion. Am I correct on that?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, but when it's typically done. So But they will review it, we'll make sure that the fire department has adequate, ingress and egress.
Yeah, the typical section, roadway section and the cul-de-sac itself is on the minimum standards based on what it requires.
So, I know that the stormwater will actually be addressed during the construction plans, but you kind of explained how you plan to handle that already, so.
Yeah.
That was a big concern for a lot of those folks.
Yeah, it's kind of hard based off the drawings that were kind of provided. You can't really see topography or grading like that, so it just kind of set in terms of what dogs, what you'll see, to get a little better feeling there when everything will work out.
So, and the last thing that, a lot of folks were concerned about was the increase in traffic count. So you said you got your report back from.
Yeah, report back from Brianne from ODOT District 8. Requiring us to, with the findings that we came up with during our traffic count. Yeah, there's no need for a left or right turn.
And if you have that traffic count, could you share that with me?
Yep.
We're working on another project that an updated traffic count would probably help us with.
Yes, sir. I could actually just give you the report if you like.
That'd be great. Yeah, I believe we had a question on the audience.
Well, it's not necessarily pertaining to this, but with this causing the influx in more homes, more vehicles commuting in, dogs not being a lifeline factor in that community. Is that something you look into? Talking about traffic, the Verona is putting in another 55 in Indian Walk, another 50 here. Then we had the completion of Legendary, so you've had a lot of developments in the last 5 to 10 years. It's pretty hectic back there because it's on the Doctor Road. That's, like I said, the only lifeline to it on the road. It is, we'll address, we can address it now or later, but Mr. Brett and I both met with the county engineer, Eric, back about that exact issue and looking at dog traffic and that intersection, trying to see how we can improve that, as well as basically the corridor between dog traffic and Shady Lane, Bridgetown, that intersection. So we're very aware of that issue and exploring, options. Yeah, the city doesn't peak hours, but you have a school bus, a FedEx truck, a mail truck, something like that. Traffic backs up pretty quickly. Yeah, it's a safer issue. I think for us, I mean, Jim always talks about.
You're not gonna find anyone more sensitive than me to that, right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Put some up in this place.
Yeah. I guess, were you finished or I didn't?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I wasn't sure if it was on the radar, so I'm glad to hear that.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's being looked at, and I wanted to, so Mark has been at this for longer than I have. Is this something that would typically come before the land use committee for weigh in and consideration? So, I don't know if we want to go through, I know that that's another step, but a lot of times the land use committee can some insights, some opinions and thoughts on these kind of developments. And while ultimately it's my understanding that Hamilton County makes the decision that at least that they can take into consideration the land use committee as well as the boards, whether the board of trustees has any opinions, but we may want to meeting to take a look at that. Unless you had any.
No, the land use committee basically comes up with a recommendation to you guys.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And
So that's why. So the engineers are not requiring you to put right hand lane in. But they don't.
Correct.
Goes on, I think it's S and Oaks right there. They have a right turn lane there. And then coming down the hill, Legendary, they have a right turn lane. That area, all Bridgetown's busy. So I think I would like to see a right turn lane. And I don't know, Tim and Mike are both shaking their heads yes, so I would think the board would like to see a right turn lane put in, and I think that's something we can request tomorrow at the hearing. Besides that, then you talked about the link between where
I'm sorry, it was,
The setbacks in between.
setbacks in between.
5 years.
That's a concern. 5 years.
Do you have anything else? Not a picture. I think the right turn lane is a must, that's just what I think. And then we're having issue, I wouldn't say issues, but I think so, because like the Rose is there. We're in an agreement with them to put in a right turn lane, we even, are in a contract with them, and that's still gonna be, should have done, we should have required it to be done before the end of it, but I think it's essential to keep the traffic, moving, and for safety reasons, and keep traffic moving.
That's coming from west to east.
Coming from, yeah, please up the hill. So, go ahead.
I have a couple of comments on the discussion. I did get the Hamilton County report, and it says the paved road going back to. So, I'm setbacks. So we heard in our Zoom meeting that if they will allow parking on one side, but at 25 feet, then supposedly accommodates a parked car and two front trailers. And I'm statistics, but I know that going down the right road, people stop and go around the park. So my suspicion is that it might be possible, but it's not out-trended. So I'd like that to be considered. A comment on the turning, I can appreciate that, unless you're the person who lives across the street and they take what is your short driveway, you now back out and make it one car, you consider two cars, and you can park one car on the street. And so if you look at the houses, I have a turn. Other people don't. So we got people who are backing out on the bridge number and now having to deal with the Rhino, Locust Ridge, really fast. And so I think some full appreciation of your existing residents about how is that safety. I mean, if I had a Dottie for every person who's turned around in my neighborhood because they missed the Rhino Bridge, I could on the property. So it's the reality is there's many people who are backing out. And so I try to make this either one, it doesn't facilitate us residents getting out of there. So that was my comment on the right turn lane and the traffic. I've got some other comments that are related to the township. So before we close the discussion.
Okay, is your comments about the development?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, about the communication. I have been in touch with
Right.
Craig. He's been very respectful. He's come to my property. One comment that obviously is that I have a privacy. And that's good to go forward as the back. But now in fact, Rhonda's got a house in town. So whereas I couldn't have the privacy on my side yard, and no one's there. Now we have a person 30 feet from the property line, growing party dogs. And so I would be requesting to be able to extend my fence to block that first house. I've asked for the opportunity to purchase those couple of lots. I've asked for Rhonda to consider range homes on those lots because my 6-foot fence is not going to keep 4 houses, 2 stories carrying over. And so he of course can't commit to any of that. But I would ask the township respect not just the development, and I'm not sure exactly how that all benefits anyone. But I do suggest that it respect current residents. I'm one of them. I heard on the Zoom call, somebody's got a pool 6 foot. You know, you don't exactly want to be swimming with somebody 20 feet further away. So the whole privacy thing with the short lots is disruptive to our live in Westwood, we don't live in Chevy. Maybe people who are moving out think that's appropriate. I found the zoning, the cluster zone to be just oh, such short backyard cluster only requires 15 feet. You're 15 feet from that. That is not. So very just looking, my attendance here was to express to the township how disappointed I would be as a person in this. That the first communication was the zoning or the planning committee soon. If you look at our residents, we don't use Zoom, we don't have computers. There's no alternative way to join them. The library closes. So we had to, people who did join either have that technology or had to reach out. Mr. Brett was on the call. It's the first I've never heard from him. The takeaway from the meeting is there was no note taker, there was no attendance. So I don't know anybody who goes back during it. I'm a 45 resident of Bridgetown. I can walk to those people. I don't know people. And when the wrong meeting notice came out, Mr. Cruz from Hamilton County Planning said, "Hey Susan, it's got the wrong date. You want to talk to me?" That with meeting notes, distribution, property owners list, you know, I feel like it's my job. I did go to the meeting, but I didn't feel like it's my job. I think Hamilton County had a responsibility to collect those people's needs. So I just didn't feel like the township was represented. I came to Mr. Brent the next day to talk to him. I did request from Mr. Cruz that I have their plans report. I've requested UTs, they have not agreed to send it, so I'm just what you said. I will be Durango Green, Aston Bluff, and Richmond. That's gonna be my new one. And I assume DMT not approved just based on. Since I'm abnormal, we have that much traffic dumping out of me like I'm not shocked. So, the DOT report approved it as an exception. Who input? They don't tell me, they just said, well, they'll find us based on traffic. I'll find you because you don't live on the island, but it's not. I live. So I'm here today to just say, you know, we need to do a better job reflecting the constituency. We impact them, not the zoning. We'll bend this one here and then we'll bend that. All that leads to all of my neighbors being. Now the Durango Green people talk about. You can't get out of Durango Green. Traffic is terrible. And when the DOT said, "Oh, it's not that bad. Well, what another 50 houses, 100 cars, teenagers, yeah, 130 cars." You know, it's like, so I'm just disappointed in the bureaucracy, the lack of communication. Maybe other people aren't impacted, so they're not doing what I'm doing. Hey, I got your name. I'm calling. So I talked to Craig a couple of times. He's toured my property. He understands what I'm accustomed to and the accommodations that I'm accustomed to. But I didn't get that same feeling about the whole process. The two called it, oh, the wildlife committee, the drainage, water committee, who are they're inputting. And then when I get the report, well, I asked Joe, when are you guys? Tonight. Well, the planning committee is voting on the 2 projects. We have an input. This township is not, their report says you have to get. So how are you gonna give them a report by noon tomorrow. Well, they already written it. So it's a little bit. What fair. And just to hear how little.
Mr. Brett will be there tomorrow, at one P.M.
And that's what tomorrow's meeting is for, is to gather input from the different groups. And obviously, you're welcome to attend and express your concerns as well. And it's yeah, the timeline was short. We didn't find out about this development until we got the notice on the hearing.
Is that how things work?
So pretty much it is, because it's not a zoning change. It's something happening within a properly zoned area, so that makes it difficult for us. But we do have some input, and we're gonna provide that in hopes that they take into account that we express what your concerns are and the other folks that we've talked with.
So you're suggesting that the 24 acres was zoned cluster development?
I think it was zone A.
Yeah,
Zoned A. I'm
Yeah, A
zoned A.
residential.
Zoned A residential. I have a residence
Yeah.
there. Mrs. Parkmeyer lived there for years. She owned the property, we had one house, it was a farm. So I guess that's a stretch for me. One house, 50 houses, that's, I'm wide the zone. I don't know zone, it's a stretch.
Yeah, it's just with the existing zone being A, and then having a PUD, plan unit development overlay on top of it. There has a little more freedom in terms of what the density. If we were to go straight, PUD zoning without any kind of buffer, I think the average, lots units per acre is 2.178 is kind of what they're allowed with. We're just over that with the bonus of the open space allows us to get that 50% or 50 lots, which you kind of actual right of way that we're providing for the development.
I read that in the report. My comment is all of that is to the south side.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, right? It's not fully representing how the development is. That 12 acres that you're
Right up
replacing.
front.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Comment on that subject, I feel like I'm confused. If I'm driving down Bridgetown Road and I'm behind somebody and they're turning right into their driveway, they don't seem to hold up as much traffic as somebody turning left. Why do you want a right turn lane instead of a left turn lane?
It's a right turn lane coming up the hill, they can get over, traffic can keep going, and they can exit on the into their subdivision.
But if they happen to be coming the opposite way and turning left,
That's true, but we can't put them on both sides. We can't put them in a lane, and at least this gives us help coming up the hill.
well,
That's how we have them throughout the subdivisions on Bridgetown, but it helps ease.
I understand, I just don't understand how that a right turn lane makes. But
Well,
I see what
see your point.
I see what you're saying, I just. Seems to me like if the lane was in the middle, kind of like they do on Glenway or what, you got arrows going both ways, you can go right or left. Both sides can keep going and the person who's turning is the one that's sitting there waiting, not everybody traveling down the road. It just confused me, that's all. It just looked like a left turn lane would be more practical to not hold up traffic.
One thing with this development, what Hamilton County requires is currently the right of way of Bridgetown Road is 60 feet, so 30 feet from center line, both directions. With this development, we're adding an additional 20 feet on our side of the Bridgetown Road. So in the future, if that ever expands, that right of way is set in place for any widening of Bridgetown Road. Now, we can't do anything on the other side because we're not part of any property on the other side, but for least on our side, we're kind of providing that for any future widening of Bridgetown Road to accommodate any widening.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, folks. I really appreciate it, but
Thank you for coming. All right, Ms. Brett, we go ahead with the administrator's report.
That's when I was in anticipation of this, I'm trying to keep it brief. Quickly on the fire department, we had our second, meeting with the union representatives and, that was, attended by Alex Ewing, myself. Alex, Tim and I will be meeting, with them again next week. Sometime we're, may have to reset that date because of the Great Parks meeting. That's the same night if we were hoping to do that. I had a correction on, I think I've told everybody now, on the cost for paramedics down in new business for the fire department. There's also new information on that. So, we may be asking Chief Schuman if we could delay approving that until May 1st. Wasn't sure what the timeline was on getting those folks in, but, there's, a couple scholarships that may be available. We just recently found out about. We'd like to see if we can get these folks a scholarship for that. The bulk water fill station, which is always kind of the talk of the meeting. I'm very pleased to say that the Village Police Council approved the lease to replace the water fill station at the police maintenance facility near the old site. Where the original one was the police had. I've contacted the equipment supplier. They're sending me construction drawings. We'll have pricing from the two people that gave us prices on that before. So I don't have a lead time on the equipment yet because the manufacturer hasn't got back to us, but we're excited to see that happening. And I know the folks up on Jordan Road are excited to see that. And also on Jordan Road, we are also setting a meeting with the Village of Please Waterworks to talk about how we're going to make the extension of the water main up Jordan Road happen. So that's the next priority. And we'd like to see that happen soon. I'm not going to put a time frame on it, but quickly.
Did you get any responses from the email?
I did not. I was kind of surprised at that. Nobody responded, so I may pop something up tomorrow morning and say, okay, pick another date.
Yeah, I think for sure.
One of the dates we picked up, if everyone knows, the mayor please works at the Cincinnati Reds ball games. So we picked a couple dates, but one of them was an afternoon game for the Reds, so I'm sure he's not available for that. So moving on to the maintenance. Oh, go ahead.
We had a question. Yes, sir.
I just want to take a second to say thank you to the trustees and to the administrator for working this water situation out with Please. You all sat here and listened to it, bitch and complain all this time. I just want you to know it is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Maintenance department, Mr. Miller and Ms. Ropers from the event center. And I took a look at the storage facilities downstairs. We have some areas that are just overflowing. We have some areas that have items stored where it shouldn't be stored. So we're going to be asking some other groups to clean up their area and move some things out for groups that really didn't have storage here, but we're using spaces anyway. We want to get in compliance with the fire code before the new chief goes down there and sees it and cites us. So we're working on that. We also
I'm a real.
so it's gonna be pulling down there once tonight when he leaves this meeting. He'll give us 15 days to do that. We also looked at the township hall and some of the work that needs done there. Mr. Beck isn't here this evening, but he brought it to my attention that we needed to do some maintenance down there. And we went down, took a look at it, and we're getting some pricing together for spiffing up the place, including replacing the ceiling fan that apparently has been gone for 2 or 3 years. Doing some work with the floors where I guess when they put the floating floor in, they had to have a expansion joint in it back then. Wasn't as good as the floors they have now. Those need replaced, and some paint and other fix-ups. Mr. Miller is also working on the gas line because we had a gas leak where the line goes through the building. So he's probably covering that. So I'm going to stop with that. Just to say that we're gonna work on that space, and it's been years since I've been on the second floor of that building, and what a great space up there. I was gonna talk to the Boy Scouts. I know a couple of you are involved with that. When I was a kid, our space for Boy Scouts was above the town hall at E-Town. So we had our own space there, and then our stuff stayed up, and, you know, I thought it might be good to talk with them to see if they want to occupy that space, because boy, it would be really nice for them to be able to leave their stuff up to the kids and things. So, we're gonna talk with them about that. Few of the meetings that we've attended, obviously the Aspen Bluffs, public hearing, finance committee met, I went to the police council meeting, the Hamilton County's, zoning inspector for this area, Jason Pastor, came out. We met and talked about multiple properties, and we're in the process of doing some things on. So, and I'm going to leave the meeting that Mr. Robinson and I had with the county engineer and the county administration for him to talk about. One upcoming meeting that I'm going to need some help from you guys to set a time for is to get together with the school district. I think Dr. Alt left, but they would like to talk to us about the projects that we're working on with them, and so maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon time sometime next week or so. Just kind of keep that in mind, and I'll send an email about that. The union contract, Hamilton County Planning and Zoning tomorrow about the Aspen Bluffs, Western Hamilton County Economic Council, and then something that's not going to take place immediately, but is someday going to be a really great project for great parts of Hamilton County and for us. They're going to have 2 public meetings to discuss the Miami Township and Whitewater Township portions of that Blue Way Trail. The first one is scheduled for Monday, April 22nd, from 5:30 to 6:30 here at the community center. We'll be co-hosting that with them. Next one is Tuesday, April 23rd, from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Carriage House Farm over on Lawrenceburg Road. And we'll get these on our website so everybody will have access to them. Then they're going to have a third meeting that is for the proposed trail route in Whitewater Township at the Miami Town Church of Christ. That's on Thursday, May 2nd, from 5:30 to 7. And my guess is that's going to talk about how they're going to get from one side of the river to the other to connect to the dog park and soccer fields, and hopefully they'll find a way that they can get up the hill to Miami Whitewater Forest and connect that. Their end goal is to connect trails and waterways from the Butler County line down to Shawnee Lookout. So they've had several of these meetings. Mr. Bland, Mr. Robertson have been to those. I don't know if you've got any of those. I know they've only had one since you've been here, so. Yeah. So we're going to have another finance committee meeting. We'll be working on proposed millage for both the police and fire levy. So while it seems like November's a long way off, we actually have to decide in June what millage we want to ask for in order to meet all the deadlines to be on the ballot. And just kind of a note for everybody. Carrie did some carpet cleaning in her area, and as we got to looking around this area, the fire part has never been done. Cindy's office, my office has never been done. So we have folks coming in to do some carpet cleaning and tile cleaning on April the 26th, starting at 8 a.m. So if you come in, the floors may be wet on that day. So, but we'll be here. So that's all I have.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I just like to,
Go ahead.
the work that's being done downstairs, all of that, we'll have to do.
So to work what?
Checks going on down, that's gonna go down hall. Over the hill, on top floor, thing, See everything go around.
We have a attorney.
We,
Gonna meet with Ronnie, right?
well, most of it, Ron and his crew are gonna do, we're getting prices on painting, but other than that, it's all gonna be in-house as far as I know.
So how was it, Kenny, I hate to be that guy. I've asked you numerous times, how are people supposed to find out that you guys are looking for contractors to do work?
Oh, Jim, I thought we had some set up.
It's the same thing.
Procedure set up.
The same thing.
Do we
It never
know?
changes.
Now, some of it's gonna be done by.
Oh, no, it's not fun.
Some
But
of
if stuff's going out to bid and they're asking contractors to bid, that's all I've said this entire time that I've come here is there has to be something put in place. You can't just hand pick. You have,
We don't,
I know what I'm just saying. He said that they're looking for painting, so how are we looking? That's my question is, are you calling people to come to it? Or, because there's nobody calling here saying, because I had that talk with Mr. Robinson, you guys don't call contractors or have contractors call you to do work. You guys call and get contractors to come in. So that's where I'm back. And I didn't come here tonight to argue or anything, but it's been this for months, years now, a couple of years that I've been fighting this battle. And still, nothing's changed.
I'll tell you this, we'll have an answer for you by Monday. We'll have a procedure by Monday.
That's
Exactly what jobs we put out to bid. Okay?
Yeah, that's all, that's all I've asked. That's all I asked from day one. It's just,
We just, we put the park out.
So, well, on something large like that, we definitely would put that out, but on a small, on a small, painting project, we're typically gonna contact painting contractors that are in the area.
How we should conduct business, that people are aware of.
We
Should be posted.
it should,
That is-
I'm saying there should be something posted because you can call anybody. You pick up the phone, call anybody.
We can call.
You know that those are things that I do. I'm a contractor that does all that stuff, yet my phone never rings. I never get a phone call from Miami Township saying, hey, we're planning on painting the interior of this building, would you like to bid? All that, like I told you from the get-go, all it wants is a damn opportunity. And you guys just.
Maybe we can set up something that once we put out a notice for contractors to send us emails, and then we put it up on our website, an automatic email will go out to those companies. Whether it relates to them or not, maybe we can do something like that.
We're gonna be working with them. Our new website designer, we can talk about that. I'm not sure that not many emails gonna be.
We're gonna figure out something. We're gonna figure out something.
Let me email would be sufficient, but the fact of knowing, like if I go home and watch the meeting, if I'm not me, and I watch the meeting and saw that, hey, look, they're gonna be doing this kind of work, I can reach out to somebody and say, hey, what is your bid package? What is it? What's the scope of work? What's everything to find out, whether or not I want to bid on the work. I don't want to bid on everything you got going on. I want to build parks. I don't want to do stuff like that. But the interior stuff, the exterior stuff, it's all stuff that's right up my alley. And there's just, the opportunity is just never there. I wouldn't even know anything about this if I would have showed up tonight. So that's the frustrating part on my end.
I think we're still in the determining process of what we need to do. Am I not correct about that?
That's correct. Nobody's been asked for a price yet. We're just talking about doing it. We've got some other things that we need to check on before we even get close to painting. And I will say, we've talked about this. I'm working on an actual procurement policy. Surprisingly, I actually, Center for Local Government has 3 people who have procurement policies that they've shared. I asked them to do a blast request for anybody who has one to share it. The director said, that's funny, something must be going on because Nora would ask for the same thing. And no one has responded. I've called people and everybody's like, well, no, we just call people, get free prices. And unless it's, big enough, like the Whispering
That's what
Farms.
we're required to do, right?
We aren't even required to do that unless we're gonna spend more than $85,000, but it's good practice. It just got raised last,
Raised
like
again?
January first.
Okay.
So we, we're gonna attempt to get 3 prices on everything. Good example of that was the window cleaning company. And we saved a few $100 on just getting windows cleaned because we went out and sourced it. So we'll be doing that.
All right, anything else? You finished?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, anything from the public? Yes, sir.
I'm here for a nuisance complaint. I live on Dog Trot, I live on 7585 Dog Trot. The
Okay,
nuisance complaint is 7589. I live next to a private driveway. They keep putting stoves on the property line, on the easement of the property line. They got a filing cabinet. The house is just an absolute, it's trash.
yeah, I think we
All
have,
the neighbors around me have a complaint, but they just ain't got time. I like the one guy that I live next to, hey, Al, he's coaching my daughter right now, so that's why he can.
that's right.
But it's just a ongoing issue, and I'm going to file a restraining order on them tomorrow because they're that bad. They treat my kids like they're trash.
We have,
Nothing's getting done.
we have it on our agenda for nuisance complaint. I believe we're gonna. Jim, do you want to talk about that or do you want me to finish up?
I can, the initial complaint, I think, came in on the 25th of March. We contacted the Hamilton County Planning and Zoning Department at that time. As I mentioned, I met with Jason from the Planning and Zoning Department, the inspector, last Thursday. We went over a litany of properties that we're dealing with, and he's left here to go look at that one and another one in particular, but was gonna get to all of them. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we don't contradict what they say. That was kind of the reason for my meeting with him. I drove by the property today and it's back a pretty long private drive.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to see from the road, and I didn't have permission from anybody to come back to private drive. So I didn't go back and take pictures, but I think Jason has some. So we're gonna work with him and we're gonna do whatever we can do to help. On this one, I had Kim make copies for you of that, of a property on Wing that's been hanging up there for a while.
We need to, here, I agree with you, we need to, not get in the way of the county, but with that being said, we need to at least send our letter, and then send our certified letter so we can follow up. Township can pursue this, because those are the steps we have to do, if we don't do them, we can't take any action. So we need to do a couple things, coordinate with Jason, and let's get this letter out. See if it's gonna hold up this progression or not, but get this going.
So that's,
We need to look at property for sending a letter. We need to know what we're sending a letter on, whether it needs.
Well, I agree, Jason, it went out April 11th,
Right, but
it's been a week ago.
and Jim said that he wasn't able to see it and that he was trying to find out whether Jason had it.
what I was
I
gonna,
got pictures.
what I
Can you
was,
see it from your property?
Yeah, well, I share a yard with it. That's the yard that I share. I had a metal fence up, I put a privacy fence up to hide, because I had it surveyed, so I can put a privacy fence up. Well, they just go out of the way and it's like, oh, we put a privacy fence up, I'm gonna put a stove out here, a violent unit. They park all their cars along the easement. And like the other night, Saturday and Sunday, they had their car parked out, I got a 3-car garage in my backyard. They parked right up in the front of the garage and turned their music on for 6 hours just because they thought I was in the garage hanging out. Like, they're just, like, I know you can't just park on the easement like that. They got a bigger driveway than I got by far. They can fit 7 cars. And that's where I talked to Jason Pastor and I sent
You
him,
talked to him?
yeah, I sent him all the pictures too. And then I seen him come out and take pictures and I was just like, Rob, the guy that lives directly across from me, he's working night shift tonight. I told him about the meeting, but he's like, he's got a complaint too. Like, it's just in front of the garage, you got like 5 coolers stacked up. Like, it's just, and then they moved the stove, but it's in their driveway now. It's just,
they're just trashy people. I don't understand it, and they don't care. Cause they just don't feel like nothing's gonna be done, so they just don't care.
But Jim will talk to Jason, right? Since he's got pictures.
What I was gonna do is, I was gonna call Mr. Heath. Obviously, it's meeting day, it was tough to get back to him this afternoon. But I was gonna give him a call, see if I could go back and see it myself, that way. Once I see it, then what I like to do, and I think it's what you guys have told me you want me to do, is, go talk to the people first. Ask them to remedy the situation, see what kind of time frame they give us, and then if they don't, then we send them a letter and we move forward with this. To date, most people that I've dealt with either didn't realize what they were doing, had a good excuse for why they were doing things. Good example, I spoke with a lady who had a pile of mulch in her front yard. Didn't intend to have a pile of mulch in her front yard, but it got delivered while they were at home and they just dumped it in her yard. And it's been raining so much, she can't get it to the backyard where she wants to. And I believe her, I'm gonna go back and recheck. And I told her, as long as she gets it done, that's fine, we'll do everything we can to help. If not, then we have to take it to the next step. But we don't want your first introduction to the township to be a nasty letter. We'd rather, come out and talk with you and, see if there's something we can do to help. But there will be those people, I did fire inspections for, I think, six and a half years. And sometimes people just tell you what you want to hear to try to get you off the property and hope you won't come back. And, that's not the way it works. We're coming back.
Well, that's fine. We need to follow up with Jason and stay on this.
I had a basketball hoop, for instance, right? On the private driveway, so the kids in the neighborhood, all of them, I got 4 kids in my house. He took it, threw it down on the ground. I went out there and moved it, then he took it and stole it, and put it up in his house, right? I called Hamilton County, they filed a disorderly conduct charge against me. They got, a camper, a pop-up camper, it's been there for 5 years in their backyard popped up. Like, this is stuff that's just, none of us on dog travel to see this crap. Most people live on a private driveway to live a private life,
I know
not
what you're saying, like pop-up camper, the vehicles, that's all Jason Pet Store. We can't do anything about that.
okay.
We can do is stuff about the stove, and the junk in the yard, and that's a nuisance, and high grass and weeds, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Brett's gonna follow up with Jason, and I advise you to follow up with Jason also,
I got his number written down.
okay?
Yeah.
Can I bring up this subject? So I know I had talked to Mr. Brett about bringing someone on board in a as needed capacity. And he had a recommendation of somebody, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he had done other work for neighboring jurisdictions. And I don't think it needs to be for everyone, but I think that I had conversations with now Lieutenant Scott Dunnigan of the fire department, who I think does a fantastic job and takes a lot of pride in his code enforcement unit there. And I think that we need to marry and mesh the fire code enforcement unit, talking about safety, with the complaints and nuisance complaints. And personally, I don't think that our administrator, there is a lot on his plate, just running the day-to-day operations here. And I don't think it's the best use of his time to be out with all of these nuisance complaints. So I would like to give him a resource if possible with the board. And if we don't want to make a decision tonight, we don't have to. But I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I think it would be a good idea for us to, especially in this more complex nuisance issues, to give Jim a resource that he can send this guy out who does this for other communities, is used to it, knows the codes, can work with the fire department hand in hand and get these things taken care of and a little faster. So that's just a thought.
I would say this, so I did this 8 years before you got here, so I would like to see you more involved with this as far as this. After 8 years, I looked at you since I went out, I looked at properties myself, I delivered some myself. talked with Jason Pastor, the other zoning officer before him. I think instead of hiring somebody, I think you need to be involved just a little bit more. We're only talking about 3 nuisances, we're not talking about 30, 3 of them. So I think, I mean, and I agree, I know Mr. Brett's got a lot of his plate, but I think you can be involved more in that. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I did it for 8 years. It is time consuming, but we're elected officials. I think we need and you oversee that department.
Well, and
And I
I'm not,
think you should be involved in that.
it's not a time issue, so I've talked to the Ohio Township Association, who said that for some of the smaller townships that don't have the resources, then sometimes that's the only option we have. But for medium or larger townships like ourselves, that it's probably not the best practice to have a trustee who ultimately is going to sign off and, on a nuisance complaint and making a decision to be the one that's going out and having the first contact and going up to somebody or calling them and then dealing with it at that level and then ultimately going to making the decision at the end of whether to declare it a nuisance property as well, so that there could be some separation so that you have somebody that's dealing with it from that end, and then the more dealing with it as more of an administrative role. So it's not a lack of time or effort or whatever else. It's a matter of that it's like I went out and I'm investigating, and then I'm going to judge whether whether you're guilty later on as well. You're the judge and the jury.
The letter gives them an opportunity to clean it up. That's the thing.
Right, but as we just talked about, they're going down and trying
They
to.
get the letter, they get another letter before we even declare it. They get almost a month. So I don't, that's just my take on it. Do you have any comments?
Right. It's like whatever we do, we gotta figure out how to get this.
Get it going. We only got 3 of them to deal with.
Well, we're talking,
We have more than 3. These are just probably the 3 most pressing right now. That, I'll do whatever the board wants. I'm glad to do it. Obviously, if we had somebody else, it would progress faster. But whatever you don't have to decide tonight, but whatever you decide.
and my understanding is the gentleman that you had brought up as a possibility and has experience with it, has dealt with it, knows that is in real estate or something, I don't remember, knows the code inside and out and brings more of an expertise to those issues. And again, I'm not saying every nuisance complaint, I'm saying if there's a more complex issue, that it could be somebody that it might take a half an hour, it might take 2 hours, it might take whatever, but that we would potentially give Jim the authority to say, hey, this one's a little stickier. I want to bring in, and again, I can't remember his name, but whatever his name is, to assist, but go ahead, sir.
Well, real quick, I think the meeting might be Ed.
It is.
Yeah, but, just a personal opinion on the subject matter is that I don't think it's an area worth sitting down on. I think it's something that as residents, probably one of the primary things that we value is having a nice neighborhood. I can empathize with this man. I'm not in that situation, but there's nothing more infuriating than having a neighbor that doesn't share the similar values that you. And you hope to see those values. If you can't enforce them yourself, we're advised not to go over, have verbal confrontation or any type of confrontation with these individuals. So it's not something we can feel ourselves, and honestly, the officers don't listen to them, not either, but to create some consistency to beautify the neighborhood. I think it is an area that I'd like to see something invested in and taking it a little more serious, other than just a note after note after note, nothing being done. Because honestly, these people don't value these things, and they really don't respond well to a note either, because quite frankly, they don't care. They don't care, and they're not considered individuals. So
I think my example from earlier about the lady with the mulch, I don't need help with that. I'm confident that she's going to do what she said she's going to do. There's another property that's been on Bridgetown Road that I think we're all familiar with, and that one I promises made there. they're probably doing, you know, I feel for them because it's been so wet, it's difficult for them to do what they need to do. But as it dries up, if they don't do it, then they're gonna get the letter, and they're gonna get the summons. But that's one that'll, you know, if they aren't gonna do it the way he said he would do it, then that's gonna end up going to court, and that's when you might need somebody with more experience, when it hits court. So, you know, in the future, if you see fit to, you know,
This should be involved in that because it's considered that it has vehicles in it. So we'll just move on.
all right.
All right, fire department, new chief, Matt Schuman.
Good evening, Matt Truman, Miami Township Fire Chief. The total call for service was 33 fire incidents, 170 EMS incidents. Last month they completed appointment and engine driver training to get more certified drivers to find space. Sent officers to fire officer 1 and 2 to a grant writing course. Fire inspections have been duty out and have started. We're also going through our pre-fire plans and updating them. Local Commons will be installing an update to the alerting system you have. Station 70, they'll be at Station 68 next week. We've received 4 new vent fans that were ordered earlier in the year. And I think that is all I have, which we want to discuss with the medical stuff.
Medical stuff, I do know that, talk about these, like,
That starts, over the 14th.
I would think, you know, that certainly something that, so much.
Great. I'm excited.
See, Sarah, Mrs. Strawberry.
Highlights at the senior center for the month of March. March 7th, we had an entertaining afternoon with singer guitarist.
That's okay.
March 7th, singer guitarist, happening that came to play for the seniors, some classic music, and we had some refreshments. And that's a program that we teamed up with the library. March 5th and 12th, we had special craft days. We have a lot of crafty, talented members. So they've been volunteering, hosting special craft days throughout the month. So that's been very nice and well attended. So yeah, that's working out really good. March 13th, Coffee with Friends. That's a monthly event. Charlie Wentz, who's a member, he comes and entertains us with music and song. He had a St. Patrick's Day day in March. That was nice. And Bridgetown Nursing sponsored this event by providing donuts that day. And they also gave a little presentation about their facility. So it was March 13th. March 14th was our second day for taxes. This is by ARP, and that was here at the community center. I know I said it last month, but very thank you for doing all the setup and takedown. Well, we appreciate that. March 28th. Red's opening day parade and lunch. We had lunch and watched the parade on TV. Upcoming events, we have 2 programs in the month of May. The first one is May 8th. We age in place for Make a Move. So the topic is deciding, is it safe for me to stay in my home or is it time for me to go to assisted living facility? So we'll have a guest of 4 people talking about fall prevention, home safety, senior living, home clean out, estate sales, are gonna cover all the topics then. The seniors out. Our second program is May 29th. Harrison Trail Health Campus is coming to talk about their facility around Harrison Hospital and depot that way. So they're gonna give a program and provide lunch for everybody attending. And side note, we just put my father-in-law in there. Very nice facility. So, it's fairly new, but it is very nice. So I'm glad May 24th, we're having a Memorial Day lunch and concert. Our senior force is, going to come sing some patriotic music. And Tim's out, he's been practicing on the 24th. And they're also going to perform, on the 27th at American Music. We just need some kind of a time, right? So we'll have to get with you and kind of,
We'll talk that through.
yeah, figure out the time. Thanks, so. That's it. One thing, Hamilton County Public Health presented the Senior Center with the Clean Kitchen Award again. Every year we get it. Yeah, they come and do surprise inspections throughout the year. No violation, year, check proper food storage.
Any questions for Ms.? Sorry.
I'm good.
Any questions for Ms. Sarver? All right, thank you.
Rescheduling the,
Oh, yes, we had to, thank you. We had to cancel our, senior fraud program in Hamilton County. With state full age. That was the day we had tornadoes that threats, then thunderstorms, and we both decided that was too important of a program to have enough people show up. So that is rescheduled June 25th. So I'll give more information on that. But thank you.
All right, thank you, Karen.
I can just say one thing because Keith will go ahead. The Clean Kitchen Award is, an award that the Board of Health gives, and less than 10% of all food service facilities in the county achieve that. It's, a real testament to their, quality and, care that they give to the food service facility. It's, certainly, it's intentionally not easy to get, and they should be very proud that they got that.
Great job. All right, man, that's part of it.
I do want to thank the board for hiring Damian, as he is a good fit, very good worker, so
Awesome.
he's working out very well for us. He's not doing all of it, but he's a lot. Pickup truck is in. I did have to get bids on plows. I got 2 bids. And the one for Egg Ford, the company through them was $9,200 for the 8-foot plow for pickup. I have to get that first over the board for probably 4 to 6 weeks out to get it, the plow. That's where that up to.
You had a different one in your board packet because we hadn't received it. So I was,
That's my business.
yeah, so
It's what?
So that's where the dump trucks are ordered. They're not going to be coming in.
no problem. They had the one from Kaufenberger for your truck. So,
Are we just presenting the one then?
it would just be the one, but it's gonna be a little cheaper than what I put in your packet, which is always good.
I think it was 9,200 because.
Yeah. Thanks for it.
We want to take care of that now, or do we do it?
We can do it in new business.
That's fine. Go ahead, Ron.
All right, 3-wheelers in. We do have a little bit of problem with it not fitting in the shed out here. It's an old one. I'm working with Andy, trying to get it to work, so we can make it work. They did want to present, but I haven't ordered it to the market. It is a little different grading setup on it. But no, that's the newer type, so I'm sure they'll figure it out when they get down there. They didn't know wrong on how it works.
Okay.
So that's the shed up here. Yeah, that shed they put up there. You ordered this, put up.
right, so we didn't put it up there.
No, it's their shed, so they have to make a accommodation for their shed, or they can put it up there, but they can keep it up there.
Did want to talk to Mr. Schuman about trying to keep it up there. The old one up here, the firehouse, so we can use it during the week. Maintenance, or I'll talk to you about it, so just to keep it up there for 2 weeks or so.
That's the second time we talked about that, is that we approved it. Do we need to approve those things or not? Or
We approved the 3-roller to be up here for
for the shed?
the shed is theirs. But they were supposed to make an accommodation for the shed, for the 3-roller bid.
Okay.
I guess the way took the measurements for the doors, so.
It wasn't our shed.
No, it's not, right? I'm just working with Andy, trying to figure out how to make it work.
Well,
There's no money out of our money.
I know, but it just, go ahead.
Okay. All right, other thing, just for getting everything caught up in court. Lighting in the parking lot will be here tomorrow. That's for the pole lights. Just Brad Electric. Dr. Gary, there's no rentals, so that worked out good. The water at the park was asked to be turned on, but that was something. School. Once the school turns the wells on, then. Which we don't need water. I'll fit that part. At least, so really kind of all I got.
Okay. Any questions from Mr. Miller?
How's the water level been down there?
It's out of the retention pond all the way to the dog works, everything fine. A little bit cleaned up.
And I want to say to you and the rest of the maintenance crew that I've got calls about how good the park looks. With the flooding that's happening.
Right.
And the grass looks great, and I'm not just making that up, I've got phone calls and we have Facebook posts about it too, how good it looks, so.
And to go back for what you were talking about, the bids, we really ain't got nothing into that yet.
Oh, no,
We were just talking about town hall what needed, so there was nobody went out on bid yet, so.
right, but I just want that process in place, that's not.
There was nothing ever, we ain't called any, I don't think anybody's called anybody.
Yeah,
We were just discussing what we needed to be done.
Yeah.
The more I get bidded out, the less I can do, so.
we appreciate it, they do a great job. All right, safety, Mr. Hughes? Do I have to put you on the time limit?
What?
Do I have to put you on the time limit?
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick on that. Okay, hi, everybody. I do want to start out, if I could, thank the board for their appointment, Mr. Shannon, to be our new fire chief. That's, local boy, and lived out close to where I still live, and, he used to come to the firehouse and, hang around the firehouse, and maybe that kind of started his goal in life to be a firefighter, but I'm looking, for him to do great things, and I'm very supportive in the capacity whatsoever. Appreciate that. My report's gonna be kind of boring, which is good. I mean, I'm gonna come up here and talk about a lot of injuries and a lot of accidents that we had in the township. First quarter, we had 0, which is actually, our safety group is planning on something this next quarter. Thank the people for working safe. Could be a real out, we have to decide yet. We'll let you know in the minutes. We have some to reward our employees, and that's always nice to do, and thank them for working hard and working safely. Had a great choice of Columbus for the Ohio Safety Congress. A lot of ideas on safety, a lot of programs there that you can bring in-house. I'm dealing with a couple of people now to motivate our people to continue to work safely. Some programs that are out there, and I'll, get that information to you in time. And with the Safety Council, we've met our 10 required meetings for the year to get our premium reduction. They require you to attend minimum 10, but it's really about the education you're getting when you go to the meetings. Chief's been there many times, and there's a lot of great information there that really helps us with our safety.
programs here. So we met that, we're in good shape. So we have a meeting scheduled, Jim Brett and I with Tammy Green from Sedgwick to go over our policy, EWC policy, that's in May, I believe, May, how about May 8th? May 8th up here in your office. And she goes over our, our engines we had for last a couple of years, stuff that. We're working with her on that. The, thing in Hamilton County, we've had a pod program going on, and with the COVID that came out, POD's points of distribution should there be a national disaster, called by the CDC, and they want to get medications out to the public. They have what they call pod sites. And Miami Township, is included in that site without us including. The last meeting we had was 4 years ago. So now they want to get this restarted, and there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be needed for volunteers. It's all volunteer, there's no pay. I try to get money out of them, but it's all volunteer. So we have a meeting, a virtual meeting coming up, and I'll let the board know what we're going to proceed from here. But I'm sure we're going to have a lot of new names. They have two. Then I did go to some of the pod managers of the Three Rivers area. Then I did go to several FEMA classes that were free to learn their process and be able to start the pod if it's needed here. They're starting it back up. I'll keep kind of informed on that. But then a safety inspection of the senior center, an audit, and found no problems. So we're going to start those. And I do want to say one thing about the West Park flooding. And thanks, Ronnie, for getting this place area all, ponds, retention ponds, getting those areas kind of coordinated off so people couldn't get around, and we got the parks back open so they could play ball when they did. I guess so we got that going on, but when the park is closed, and the signs are up, it means don't enter the park. That's what it means, and people are still. Let me get on that real quick. So LT, so that's something we should be notifying you about when we close our park because of the flooding, so you can notify the officers, or how much you like us to be, assuming you're. Because we need help, because people will still park on the easement that we have there with the school, and then they'll just walk in the back way or the side way, which is a dangerous situation. So even though we have those signs, I mean, we're not asking them to be flood patrol, but if they're trespassing, they're trespassing. Right. So, just a drive-by once in a while would work wonders, I think.
You can obviously call me, or you can call, if I'm not on, call and then for further supervisors on, for the text spread to the troops to, if you want them, not like you said, they're just parked there, but drive by and raise them.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great deterrent, so we'll start doing that from here on.
So easiest to
I'll send you a
just
text.
message to me and I can get it out to the troops.
The big sign worked very well now. Seems. Sign with, that the river was a possibility, that the road closed when he's playing in the park was closed. So that's every road or something.
Me too.
But, we don't close the park because we want to close the park. We close the park for the state visitors to the park. Definitely. Period. And we worry. A lot of kids, you ever drive the weekend, drive by the park, my goodness. That's it. Any questions for Mr. Hughes? All right, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. That's all. right, facility rentals, Mr. Rivers. Please open it.
Good evening, I'm Carrie Rivers, the event manager for Miami Township. In March, we had 13 total rentals. 12 of those happened in the community center in the lower level. One of them was in town hall. So far for 2023, we've had roughly 45 events. 2024, we have 26 events booked so far. And we're at a 90% rate of residents renting our facility. So that's a good thing. Community is definitely using the building. Other events that happened in the community center and town hall, other than Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, dance, we had our ambassador meeting. We are a polling place in the community center and town hall. AARP Tax Day, which Kieran mentioned, and then our Easter event. That was the biggest event that we had in March. It turned out to be a beautiful, very windy day. So the fire department really came in handy that day. We had an inflatable outside and Megan and I could not pull it down. So we quickly ran to them and they saved the day by tying it down for us. So I wanted to thank them. We probably had, how many? I mean, over 500 kids, probably easily. Trustees Robeson and Bullrat were there. We thank them. Megan was there working. Thank you. Of course, thank you again to the fire department. Huge thank you to Cindy. Like I said before, she really knows the Easter Bunny very well.
And it was warm. I was probably the only one.
Definitely. And also to Cindy, we did over 5,000 eggs this year. Cindy took every single one of those eggs to her class and they stuffed all of them, every single one. So she delivered them to school, she delivered them back to us.
This was so good.
And a funny story, she did tell me that she sent them out to her truck with the eggs, a couple of kids, and it was very windy and they were gone and they were gone and they were gone. And so she looks outside and there's hundreds of eggs all over the parking lot.
The bottom of the box went open and they're out there and every time they get an egg and put it down, they get a piece of candy, there goes the egg. I'm like, okay, let's just get out there. So I told her, I'm like, that was one moment for me.
So a huge thank you.
But it's
Cindy.
a good learning lesson for me.
It's
So
very
thank you.
appreciated. And every time the kids would bring eggs back to us, they were smiling and happy. And it was just a really good partnership. So thank you very much. And speaking of sponsors, we have some very gracious, generous business owners who actually ask us about the Easter event and they can't wait to sponsor it. So huge thank you to Sullivan's Baker Insurance, Rocco Group, who owns the strip mall across the street, Gilday Automotive, Knights of Columbus, Regina Bakery, Schmidt Family Dentistry, and Crossroads Church. Crossroads Church sent a group of people. They served our punch and cookies, and they also did our prize redemption. Total sponsorships that we brought in for that event were $1,100. That covers a huge amount of that event for us. So thank you to our generous business owners. And I did send handwritten thank you notes to all of them because I just want them, that's a really good relationship that we're building and I want to keep it that way. I had my last open house on March. In March, I had my open house on March 12th. Of course, it was the first gorgeous evening in March, so I knew it would not be heavily attended, but we still managed to get 10 people and we signed 3 contracts that night. On March 20th, Mr. Brett invited me to go to the Weed Drive meeting. I really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to helping to bring more events into the township, down the hill and up the hill. Park rentals, we've had a couple of park rentals and trash has been a huge issue. Ronnie or the guys send a picture of the trash to me. Maybe if we could ask that trash get emptied in the morning. I mean, our last event was at 1 p.m. and the garbage cans were overflowing. So maintenance had to go down at 1 and I think he had been there, the park manager had been there in the morning, but the trash just wasn't emptied. So if we can really make sure that the trash is empty, and I have mentioned it to him before, but I sent a picture to Mr. Brett too of the overflowing trash on that day.
We can do that.
Okay. Maintenance issues, toilets were leak. I had the same toilet leak that I had in other toilets. Ron had that fixed within a few hours. I had down that lights were an issue, but those are being fixed Thursday evening. I just really appreciate Ron and the guys. I know how busy they are, but they still take the time before they do anything to call and check to see what events I have, because they realize that, well, they don't want to see me mad if they're here blowing leaves, cutting grass, spraying weeds, changing lights when clients are here. So they just really do their best to check with me first, and I appreciate that. So upcoming dates, April 23rd is the next open house from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. April 27th is Shred Day and Drug Take Back Day. So we'll have two different things, two different things going on in the community center parking lot. Will be shred truck, and I really haven't talked to the new chief, which welcome, by the way, it's very nice to have you. We'll figure out the logistics of how you exactly want to do drug take back day. I think last time they drove through the bay and took them that way. Then May 11th, famous goat yoga, 10:15 session is full. I only have a couple spots left at 9 a.m. June 20th is our first outdoor concert with 90 Twang. Then we're working on a couple exciting things, a murder mystery dinner for later in the year. Mr. Brett and I have talked about this, and we're working on logistics. And then we're going to bring a 3-week yoga session here in September. And I'm working with Body by Bender to do that. So it'll be a 3-week session that happens in the community room. And those are two things I was confident to mention, but there are still things that are exciting that are happening otherwise. Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Roberts? Quick comment. Sure. I think you went above and beyond at the extravaganza with that toilet. I'd like to thank you.
You got a video.
For the record, Ron was not working that day, and he was just there with his family, and there was a toilet that was very backed up, so I said I would handle it. I never should have said that. I double gloved. It was the most disgusting, horrible thing, and it's all on video. Thanks, Ron. But hey,
Yeah, I just had a comment about when we talked about the trash in the park. The center had an event at the park for the B-Clubs. And we rented a shelter there and it's free, but the trash. They were just,
they're not getting the trash.
Just to defend the maintenance, we're not in charge of the trash.
Oh, yeah.
Right, not being.
Looking around like, why you make it?
The trash is not getting emptied at the park. We've had numerous complaints about it in the picture.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to the extravaganza as well. It's that, again, the Miami Heights Civic Association, notified us by last year that they just couldn't keep up with it, and Carrie jumped in there and, took the reins and ran with it and made it, it's thriving and doing things. So it's neat to see that many kids in our community will join that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Clark was supposed to be here. I wish he was here, so he's not. IT, Mr. Taylor, I don't see him.
He couldn't make it this evening. He and I did have a meeting this afternoon about various things that he's working on, and we'll have an update on that for you.
So you can follow up with JJ in the morning? Or-
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure we get that cleared up. All right, we'll move on to new residents then. So what you want to do?
Yeah.
All right,
Well, if someone has old business, I didn't have anything to carry over.
no, I don't have anything old business. All right, so the first thing is the snow plow with the first of the 9-foot western plow installed. It's at 94.59. Can we approve that up to that amount? Which cheaper you said?
Actually, we can go ahead and just approve the 8-foot western plow from High Court,
Do you get
Or
the price? Do you get the
9,000.
price in?
$9,200.
$8,200.
That's $9,000.
9,200. All right, any discussion?
So we got the one bid, and then this is a second one that's lower, so we can go with that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's basically the same unit get installed. I will say, I think that by checking with someone else, we got probably a little better deal than we might have at High Court if they'd have ordered it with the truck. That's why Mr. Miller left the plows off the trucks. So we could shop those prices and, that I think it's paying off.
For sure, I agree. All right, the motion, yeah, I'd rather make a motion to purchase a, for government, pay for 200.
I will second.
Mr. Walren?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, we'll talk about the staff car for the fire department, the 2023 Chevy Tahoe equipped with lighting package and service package, it's wired for radios. Its purchase price is $84,500, and it's my understanding that it is in the budgets for the fire department this year, that's correct?
Yep.
All right, any discussion?
This is for the chief.
So this will be for their, the, ship captain's vehicle. Once this comes in, we get all the radios and stuff, and I'll take their over Tahoe. And then the Explorer that I'm driving will be the staff car at Station 7. Right now, there's no staff car for those folks to run around in, design on it, so. Once this comes in, I'll take the over Tahoe and the vehicle I'm driving will move down on the station vehicle, so.
Any discussion, Mr. Moore? All right, Mr. Brown?
No, other than to say, you can't order this unit anywhere until next year, so the fact that the chief was able to find one was a small miracle. Glad he did, so that'll keep us going in a rotation that we can keep up with, I think.
All right, do we have a motion? Yeah, I would make a motion to purchase that. Stand for it, when we call it, 845.
Second.
Mr. Walren?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, and we table that. Any more public? Anybody else from the public would like to address the board on anything? All right, we'll go to Mr. Robinson.
I guess, so you said you wanted to move on, if I can, so we're not gonna move forward with, considering you said Ed, Lyndon, Schmidt, whatever his name is, so we're gonna hold off on that for now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I just didn't know
Yeah,
you guys made a decision
on
on
this table.
it. Okay. I met with, I was requested to meet with, the mayor of North Bend, Doug Sammons, and, Skip Holmes, who is a project manager for their park, and had a lengthy discussion with them. They would like to explore opportunities to partner with us and want to see about setting up a meeting. So I don't know if we can do that, but they wanted to share with us what they're up to, and we can just make
Partner
sure.
with us about what?
Well, that's a discussion. It's just to talk about. Regional project, and so. They'd like to. Meet with us. Have that conversation, see what things that make sense for everyone. So, just a- Great. As Mr. Brett mentioned, we went down and met, I don't know, week and a half ago or so with the county administrator, Jeff Ludo, as well as Lisa Webb, who is his assistant administrator, to discuss the sheriff's contract. And there was, we informed them that the clock is ticking and that we need to try to get some, resolution on this, and that a lot of aspects were discussed as far as the towns or the villages, and they shared that the sheriff's administration was still, I guess, pushing the previous proposal that they pushed out. I pushed back on that a little bit and asked whether there was wiggle room. I know that previously they put it out there as a take it or leave it offer, and I disagree. I think that there's a chance to discuss and see whether we could whittle down the cost and whether we can all agree on the proper level of service that is required for our area. And particularly, we still need to figure out whether the village of Addiston is in or out, and wants to be a part of this. Conversation. On the left. To try and work on this back. Some things done. Work on that. Some big tips. Stay tuned. Yes. Some answers soon. Set out that.
No, I think we should probably let it go at that, other than just to say that, I'm gonna be talking with Lisa Wells about where our current levy is, where we might have to go. I believe she and Jeff Paluto are aware of the fact that it's a difficult time to ask people for money. So they at least seem to be open to working with us and working with Mike's proposal. Now, whether the sheriff's department is going to kick in with that, but at least we opened the door for discussion. I think it went really well, and we'll see where that leads.
Now we need to get moving on this, so when do we have to, is the finance committee going to be?
We're again in 2 weeks, we've already met twice. It's just answers. The police and Matt has been wonderful, gave me great numbers.
Good.
So we're meeting again next week, Matt and I, and in 2 weeks, the finance committee. We really need, in June, you have to have, by May, we should come to you and say, this is what we're looking at.
Okay.
And then you guys will need to make a decision in June.
Okay.
We made
I
it
know,
very well.
it's coming.
Yeah, that's
The
huge.
finance committee knows, and I can only give what I have.
Right. I got that.
So August 5th is the day that anything would have to be to the Board of Elections. So that's, to mean that our meeting in July, we'll have to approve whatever we're gonna do. So in June, we'll have to, ask the auditor's office for our amounts. So,
Fire, I think we feel comfortable what we're, but it's the police that we're not sure
Yeah,
what to
just-
do.
not knowing, and
Right.
I honestly don't think that the county administration realized how much the sheriff's department is covering for Addison. I know you guys are over there a lot.
Well, right now they have the higher chief and then, part-time. So, to me, as a person looking, without getting a chance to meet with them there, it looks like they want to do their own thing, would be my impression. Now, they have not given us a meeting, or meetings have been canceled, let's say, so we haven't been able to get that definitive answer, but that's the impression. We just need, like you, a definite answer.
And I believe Mayor Mears wants to move forward. She's just gotta get her council to move with her.
Well, this is how I look at it. So you met with the county administrator and his assistant. So the next step, you guys are meeting with the sheriff's department or not? We need to define what they're asking for, where we want to go, and then how much it's going to cost us, like Cindy said. When we need that, like,
Right, and that's what we did, but Jim, I think rightfully so, said we're not going to share all of our negotiations and details.
So
here.
you did
So
that with
I'm
the
saying they were correct, and ultimately, they're the ones that decide and vote. So the county commissioners are the ones that approve any contract. So the sheriff has given input to us, the sheriff has given input to them. Everyone knows where the sheriff is on this issue and knows what they would like to see happen. Ultimately, it's going to be the Board of County Commissioners and this Board of Trustees that would agree to on the contract. So that's not to leave it out, but, I think everyone is well aware of where, the sheriff is, what they want, and, so it's really, a lot of negotiation on that. Said, county administration, what they would like to see, and so everybody, it is what it is, and so ultimately, and I've talked to Mayor Mears, and she's, like Jim has just said, expressed where she is on it, but, we don't need behind the scenes, stances, we need public stances, and you know, some decisions made on that, so stay tuned on that, but yes, we're doing all of our due diligence, and talk numbers and crunch all that. Next, we also took the opportunity, since we were downtown, to meet with the county engineer, Eric Beck. And, as was mentioned earlier, discussed, the intersection of dog track, which we talked about a couple times now recently. And, I think that he was also very open-minded and, you know, interested in partnering with us, and actually took the unsolicited approach and offered to call ODOT himself after we expressed what we would like to see done. So again, you know, we're not going to get into all the details, but I would say that everybody is aware of the safety concerns, of the road issues, of the traffic issues, and so we're kind of looking at that whole corridor between J. Lane and so turning over every rock and looking at any and all funding sources. He had some of his administrative staff there, and they're putting their bets together as well. And we're reaching out, particularly to the state, to see if we can secure some additional funding. We did, I guess we could deal with this offline, but we did receive an email from Chad Brinson on April the 3rd, and I had not seen any communication or response from anybody on that.
You got that,
I spoke with him again, just a couple days ago. And, he said that he would like to come and address the board or send me an email to address the board on his behalf. He couldn't be here this evening. He's actually a Miami Township firefighter, and he's on duty. So, I'm trying to see if we can negotiate something out so that we don't have to deal with that, with his concerns right now. So if we can do that, hopefully we can. If not, he may be in our next meeting. So,
I'm just concerned about potential liability there, so I think that we need to make sure that we don't. But, no, I think that's it.
Also, all right, Mr. Moore, yeah, just got a couple of quick things here. Memorial Day coming up. The American Legion has been doing a parade. I think we're the oldest parade in Hamilton County. Legion was actually chartered in 1921, and I've been watching throughout the years. Really, it's for that. You know, down. We would love to keep that event there. So we're just asking the community to come out and we love to make it a nice day. And we're also looking for any veterans who live in or out of the township who would like to be involved with the Legion to help with that. Because I gotta tell you, we're very short staffed with individuals that can walk that parade route with a rifle and get up there and fire. So anyway, that the Legion certainly is an help. We'd love to support the community on that. We'd love to keep that agreement.
Yeah, just talking about the finance committee, so I'm good with it.
Right, I don't have anything, so thanks again, Ron, and the maintenance department, we do appreciate it, all the work you guys do down the park and everywhere else, and I'm sure we do appreciate it, so, last chance for the public, anybody?
Yeah, I did want to say, can we get an update on the Whispering Farm? So I have a slot.
We had a little trouble locating the person who did the last work, so we extended the due date, so that's gonna be in about 3 weeks. We'll have, the, quotations in, and we'll be making the decision on the contractor at the third.
We extended it 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be making that at the third Wednesday meeting in, May.
So it went out for bid or it will go out?
It's out, it's published, but, we wanted to make sure that the person who did the work previously found out about it, and we had a little difficulty in locating them, so we found it. We only had one other person request a bid packet, so we want to make sure that we get at least 2. We'd like to get 3, so if anybody knows of a company that does drilling and wants to give us a price, we'd love to have at least 3 or 4. But so far, it looks like we're gonna get at least 2.
All right,
Two reputable companies to do the work.
It's a smart question, right, with the police levy. When does our levy, like, expire with the police? And what happens moving beyond that if we don't have something in place with Hammond County?
Well, it's this next year, but that's part of the discussion that Jim mentioned, is that if we have to have contingency plans, so if we put out a levy and, it doesn't go the way we hope it goes, then we need to figure out what happens with the sheriff and, patrolling and all that stuff. So there's a little bit of nuances as far as, not only what can we agree to in the short term, but what are the ramifications? What's the fallout if the community doesn't support, a levy at a certain point? What is their approach? And frankly, they hadn't thought through that far, and so I think we kind of caught them off guard a little bit. And that was where they asked for a little bit of time to research that and figure that out from a legal standpoint, as well as a law enforcement and safety standpoint. But, and I just want to say that I wholeheartedly have support having a procurement policy. And I know we've talked many times, and I think that it is important that we put it out there. I still don't like how things went down with the last bid, because I think that we do need to have standards and be consistent and put things out and let people have the opportunity, and then from the township standpoint, say, these are the specs, this is what we want, this is the job we're hoping happens. And so I'm excited and happy that Mr. Brett is working on that. I think that Monday is probably pretty ambitious because we would ultimately need to approve policy. So whatever he would bring forward would have to come before the board. We'd have to agree to it, approve it. But I know that he's been working on that with all the other things, with hiring a fire chief and everything else he's had on his plate. So,
Well, just the one thing that I want everybody to know, that it's not just the window cleaning project. So when we do this policy, it's gotta cover the things like the turf management. What do we do when we have a company that, we've gone to year after year, they've been good? How do we handle that? There's some state limits in what you can and can't do. What do you do with things that are sole source? So it's not just saying we're gonna go out and do our best to get free prices on every project.
right.
It's much more involved in that, because when we do this, we're gonna do it right.
Required by law. Right? So 85,000.
85,000 or more were required to
So
go out.
with some of that, we can make whatever rules we want to.
Correct.
Okay, well, excuse me, back to the sheriff. So we put a renewal and an increase, and it fails, which we learned from the Carter study. which will have no, no levy at all. So right now, the sheriff, which provides, it's called calls for service, am I correct about that, Lieutenant?
Yeah.
So calls for service, he provides it for North Bend, no cost. He provides it, I don't think Whitewater, does Whitewater have a contract?
Whitewater, Harrison, Crosby,
Whitewater,
Township,
Harrison.
all don't have a
Harrison and
contract.
Crosby, they all are under a cost for service that's by the ORC right now. So that's where we would fall back on. If that, we put it up, not if we put it up, we will put it up, whether it's a renewal and an increase or just a renewal. So that's, at least we'll still have police protection by the ORC. Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, we motion to adjourn? Second.
All right, Mr. Walrath?
Yep.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. All right, thanks for coming, everyone.